Hi guys, exeter-rider, thanks for joining me once again. This week it's the full review of the new NQI GTS Pro. And first thing I want to mention actually while we're at the lights is just how quick it is to pull away. It's not particularly fast. As you can see, I'm on a bit of a drag race there with that car. You do have to be a bit mindful that it isn't going to be the fastest quickest bike off the mark. I'm not saying it's slow, but I think when you're coming up to lights, it's not the sort that you can filter down through and then get up to speed quickly off of the lights. So you're better off just hanging behind people, really. Keeping up with traffic in a 40 zone is never a problem, as you can see here. And although it's generally speaking a city bike, I have found it pretty good for B roads as well. The only time it gets a little bit lost is on national speed limits where you got a long straight. So range wise, I've never really found myself wanting any more. Obviously I've been working quite local and using the scooter every day to get to work, and it's been alright. I've not really had range anxiety or anything like that. I have purposefully run the battery right down, and what you'll find is it goes down to 15% and then it goes into eco-save mode, which I wasn't expecting. Not really overly fond of that, really. I'd rather know that I've got 100% battery rather than it going down to 15% and then dropping to 15 miles an hour. I'd rather it done that at 0%. But for shooting around town, doing errands, and even going on nice rides like this on a sunny day, it's a very pleasant, peaceful bike to ride. Well, so let's have a quick 0 to 45 test, see how quick it is. Oh, bit of a wheel spin there. Right, hopefully you can see the dash there. So up to 30 miles an hour, it gets there quite briskly, and you feel a light tug on the handlebars as you get into it, and then that is about top speed there, around 44 miles an hour. One of the bonuses with this bike is you have got the cruise control here, which I'll just push. I can let go of the throttle, and on this long run here I can just chill out, let the bike do the work. So that cruise control is something which is surprisingly handy, and I've used it a lot around town as well. It's quite nice not to have to sort of go on and off with the throttle and just push it into cruise control and let the bike do the work. It's a nice way of riding around. The dash is very clear. I've got my speedometer here. This is the power bar here, which obviously I'm using half power at the moment, keeping it at this speed, and the lower it goes, the less energy you're using. I've got the 2 battery modes there, and which shows me which battery has got more charge in it. They normally balance out anyway, and but I've also got the time, and it tells me that I'm connected to the satellite for the brilliant app that NIU have devised, which lets you know riding history, and it also comes with a no subscription tracker, which is really impressive. So basically, if I lock the bike up, put the alarm on, and I could be at home, and if anyone tampers with the bike or tries to take it, then it will send an alert to my phone. And that, to me, on this type of bike is priceless, because they're so easy to lift and put onto a van. When you consider that this bike is £3,500 on the road, or 3,600, somewhere around there, it's a very, very good price for the tech that you get with this bike. And also we've got the self-cancelling indicators as well, which again, although they make a silly noise, you can change the noise when you operate them on the app. It's a nice little feature to have, self-cancelling. And I would say that if you're quite a nervous rider, or a new rider, or just past your CBT, which you can ride this on L plates, then I think this is a very good option really, because it's so easy to ride. It's got all those functions which are pretty much foolproof really. So if I put the indicator on here, look, can you hear that noise? See when it cancels. There you go, cancelled itself, look. And that whacks off the satellite. So it'll take you around the corner and it will turn it off for you. I have tried to trick it a few times, like do a U-turn, and it's still whacked out. I've never been able to trick that thing yet. So yeah, clever bit of tech that. I'm down to 84% now. I've done about, I don't know, 6 miles on the bike, I reckon. Probably a bit more than that, 8 miles. So we'll keep an eye on that. We're on 396 at the moment. For riding the lanes like this, it's a fantastic bike, just going exploring. Stick the cruise control on. And what you'll find with slower bikes is that you do get to see more. If I was on my NC now, you just tend to aim for the furthest point and you kind of miss it, because you're concentrating on this everything so much. But with this you can switch off a little bit and enjoy the views. And primarily this is what this bike is about really. It's an A to B bike, as I like to call them, and it does a very, very good job of that. It's not particularly exciting, like when you consider you got your zeros, but they have a lot more excitement with them. But with this you don't really get that excitement feel, but it's still fun. Yeah. It's a really strong, solid bike this. Nothing rattles, nothing bends. All of the plastics are really well put together. Titanium rear swing arm. Disc brakes front and back. Yes, they're linked brakes, and I'm not overly fond of that, but it's what they've got to do to comply with Euro 4 and Euro 5. I think it's how a scooter should look. And electric vehicles back along, they used to look a bit quirky, didn't they? Whereas this one, I don't mind the looks of it. I think it looks pretty good. If it was a 125cc scooter or this one, this might take the biscuit, I think. And depending on, I'd have to think about how far I'm going to use the scooter for and the range that I need to use personally. Got the cool looking halo light as well. Bosch motor. As I say, the switch gear is really good on this. Really tight, really good. The only thing is that annoying noise which you can change on the app. For everyday use you don't really need anything more than this, as long as you're in the city like I am, or even out in the sticks a bit, you can it's still a handy bike to use. And even on the nationals and the lanes and things like that, you generally find that people don't really do more than, I don't know, 45-50 miles an hour, do you? I mean, you are pinned all the time. Everywhere you go with this bike, you got the throttle fully open, but it doesn't feel slow to accelerate. But it's just when you get to that top end it starts to drop off. But 45 miles an hour I would say is the minimum that you want for the roads. And for £3,500 for a very well built, and it honestly is, it is a well built machine, I cannot take that away from it. Battery life is amazing compared to other scooters in this league. I mean, you got I think Vespa make one, don't they? But I don't think you get the range that you get on this one, and I don't think the top speed's there either. So again, and it's probably £2,000 less, I would imagine. But yeah, incredibly well built, very solid, good bit of kit, and it's ahead of its game, really. I think out of all the electric scooters out there at the moment, and I don't know, I haven't tried many others, granted, but for the price, I mean, if you put it up against a BMW, for example, then you're not going to beat that. But what's that? It's £14,000 for the BMW, and this is 3.5. It just makes it affordable. If anyone ever wanted an electric motorbike or scooter, then this is a good option. And I think part of the problem before now, in the past, has been that people have thought, well, when's a good time to buy one? I'll just wait a bit longer till things develop. But I don't think, for the price, I don't think you're going to get much more development out of these bikes now. The savings that you make cost-wise is fantastic. I mean, I've done about 150 miles since I've had it. Not as much as what I was hoping to do, to be honest with you, but life gets in the way there, doesn't it? But 150 miles, and what's that cost me? Probably, I don't know, 70-80p. Well then guys, for the walk round, where should we start? Styling, I think that's where we'll start. Now, first of all I want to talk about this headlight. This headlight is probably one of the best headlights that I've had on the bike, believe it or not. It shines so far ahead, and a massive wide beam, whether you're on low beam or high beam, it's really, really good. Seat wise, it's very comfortable. We've got a thick layer of foam. It is very slidey though. Every time I put the brakes on, I do tend to find that I slide forward a bit, so that's a bit on the minor side there. It's a very easy bike to pull in and pull around. You've got the grab handles here for the pillion and for moving in and out the garage or whatever. And pillion comfort actually is very good as well. Pulling two people, a passenger is fantastic. It's got plenty of power. It's only when you get to a bit of a hill that it starts to lack a bit. But again, very, very good. Styling is going to be subjective. I don't particularly like the back end of the scooter. It just seems a bit flat and a bit angle. A mate of mine said it was a bit like a Renault 5 actually, if you're old enough to remember one of them. Battery wise, you're going to get about 45 to 50 miles on the charge. While I'm on the charging, we'll shoot over to the garage now and I'll take you through the charging procedure. Okay, so we've got a battery charger here. What we need to do is to open up the under seat compartment like so. There is a little gap here where you can slide the cable through and then close it up if you want to. And right down in here, there is a little socket. And all we have to do, get your charger, plug it in like so. That's it, and it's charging away. So with that charge, if it's down to around 15%, which will be after 45-50 miles, then that will take about 3 or 4 hours. If it's down to 0, then you're looking at more like 6 or 7 hours, okay? But realistically, what you'll do is you'll come home and then you'll just plug it in overnight, and then it'll be back up to 100% in the morning. So the second way of doing this, if you live in a place where you don't have access to the bike undercover, like you live in a flat or whatever, then the other option is to take the batteries out. Again, it's a very simple way of doing things. And all you have to do is unplug it like so, take that one out. Then we've got a separate key part here, which will open up the footwell like so. Unplug it, pull it out, and then we've got both of the batteries out. Now what you might be thinking is that you could have some spare batteries in the shop or at home and a spare charger, so you can have some batteries on charge while the other two are being used. It doesn't really work like that. So for example, each one of these battery packs are £1,100 each, and that there is £500. So actually it's not really a viable option. So the other option that we have, if you do live in a flat or a place where you can't get a cable out to the bike, is we've got this splitter cable here, all right? So one end plugs into the one battery and one end plugs into the other battery. Then we get the main charging cord here. This is known as a splitter or a dual charger converter. And we plug it into there and they're on charge. So this is a faster way of doing it. I don't know why it's faster, because you would have thought it'd be the same as plugging it into the bike. I guess there's some sort of intelligent charging going on there maybe. But this here will charge both of these batteries up in about 4 hours or so from 0%. So it is a much faster charge, but obviously it is going to be easier to use the first method and then just leave the batteries in the bike
plug it in, and off you go.
Okay, back on it again. The Bosch motor, the technology with the tracker system, and it's all thrown in. It's a really good application and dashboard setup there. We've got a USB charger, a little hanger for carrying a bag and things like that, and a little cubby holder to put your phone in while you're charging it on the USB if you want to do that. We've got really good, decent pegs here. They look plastic, but they are actually solid metal. Pillion pegs there, they're very strong, and as I say, it's great for carrying a pillion. For everyday use and commuting to work, this bike is fantastic, and we have to remember it's costing you next to nothing as well. The only expensive part really, well, let's run through it. We've got the 0 road tax. There's no or limited servicing costs. It's literally just a check over £50. Let's say it's going to be around that. It's the insurance that's a little bit more expensive, because that's, for me, would work out about £350, and when you consider that I'm paying £150 for the NC, it's more than double. So that's something to take in mind. It is learner legal, so if you're on a CBT L plates, then you're going to be fine there. We've got a decent centre stand, which is very easy to pull up on like so, and also a side stand as standard as well. But it's the tech that really impresses me with this scooter. Having a tracker and riding history on the app and all that sort of thing is a really useful tool, a very interesting tool as well to have. Charging wise, you know, you can just, as long as you're riding no more than 50 miles a day, you can just charge it up, come home, plug it in overnight, and you're ready to go again the next day. So again, very cheap. So switch gear wise, we've got the start button there, it's the hazards, and the mode selector up and down. Left bar, we've got high beam, low beam. The annoying indicators, self-cancelling, which is quite impressive. Cruise control right underneath there, and a horn there. The brakes are non-adjustable, but they're very easy to reach anyway. And also we've got the combined braking, which works very well. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get on and have another ride of it. One of the things people say is about what happens when these things go wrong. Well, first of all, we got the app, which will tell us what's wrong with the bike and give us the fault codes. So you know where you are straight away. Before you go to the dealer, you can tell them it's number 009 fault code, and they'll tell you what to do, whether to bring it in or not. And there isn't really a lot to go wrong. I mean, you got the motor, the speed controller, and the batteries, which, yes, is still technical stuff. But to change these things, it's not like it's a clutch and a gearbox and a chain or a shaft drive or any of this messing around. You know, this particular scooter is just a direct drive from the motor on the rear wheel. Simple as that. And again, that's the way things are going. Mechanics, you're not going to see them covered in grease, you know, in the future. It will all be sort of battery cells going down and having to change them. So the batteries on this particular bike have a 2-year warranty and a 5-year life cycle. But what that actually means is that the battery in 5 years time, I mean, this is generalising here a bit, but the battery in 5 years time will lose 20% of its power. And a YouTuber friend of mine, he's got a BMW C Evolution, and he took his bike in to BMW for a service after 5 years, and quite a lot of miles. I can't remember how many now, but quite a lot. And he'd lost 20%, but that was in 5 years he'd lost 20%. And what you have to remember is that all these batteries are recyclable as well. And you know, a new industry will be opening up on that side of things in time to recycle lithium ion into power walls, which are basically home chargers which store energy via solar or whatever else. And it all seems like spaceship stuff, but it is reality. It is here. It is already happening. So just got to get used to that. So yeah, lithium ion is recyclable, unlike that Renault fossil fuel burner there. You know, when that's burnt, it's chucking into the air and we're breathing it in, and it ain't good. So my point is that when things do go wrong with electric bikes, it's generally easier to pin down and there's less of it. So I don't buy that at all. I don't think that is a valid point not to buy an electric vehicle. When it comes to timing of buying an electric vehicle, yeah, I get that. When is a good time? But the reality is, as with anything in life, there's never really a good time, because things are always progressing. It is a great little package, this. And again, it makes so much sense. It's just a matter if you like the styling, which again, it's not really my style of commuter. You know, I do want a motorbike, and obviously I do need the range as well, but as a second bike, this would be epically awesome. It really would. It would be really good. It would be really good. Highly recommend it. Just for getting around town. And like I say, this will probably come out more than the NC does, I reckon, if I had one of these, because it is just so light and easy to live with. And filtering through here, it's costing me next to nothing. It's probably cheaper than walking. Well, all them lot are burning away their fossil fuels. Brilliant way of getting around. And certainly as a city commuter, I mean, what else? What more would you want? So I'm 5'8" and I've got a 30-inch inside leg, and I can pretty much flat foot it both sides. If you haven't seen my first ride of this bike, then do watch that, because that's got a lot of city riding and what this bike is primarily for, really. But thank you for watching the first ride video and this video, and all of my subscribers, thanks for being superstars and watching all of my videos that I make. Thank you very much. Yeah, and thank you very much to you guys as well, saying thank you to the car then. But thank you so much for watching all my videos and that. It really makes it worthwhile for me, because it is really hard work. And like I say, I filmed all this yesterday and I lost the whole lot because of the sound. But having you guys here, just clicking that like button, and if you're new here, do hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. It just helps me, just makes it a bit more worthwhile, you know. So that's cool. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you so much to Sinus UK, who have supported the channel. They are the main distributors for this bike. They do nationwide delivery and things like that. If you are thinking of getting one of these, like I say, do buy with confidence, because they are very good. And if you buy from Sinus UK, which I would highly advise, because they are set up well for this type of bike, or even if you're in the trade, they do deal with the trade as well. So I'm not quite sure how that side of it works, but they're a good company to deal with, and they've been great to me. So thank you very much to them for making this video possible. And I'll leave you in peace, guys, with the spec and the photos and a little bit of music. Thank you very much. See you next Friday.